Now we've come to the exploding industry of self-publishing. If you've done any passive research at all about writing a book, you will have already been inundated with articles, listicles, and videos telling you about self-publishing and its positive and negative aspects. The biggest and most important point to consider is whether this path is right for you. In the previous lesson, we saw the publishing process as it exists for traditionally published authors. Let's see what it looks like for those who publish on their own. The writer writes the book, then seeks out free critiques from peers, followed by a full professional edit. Once the text is complete, the writer or a hired professional needs to format the manuscript for ebook and hard copy release. This is especially important for the paperback version to ensure it prints properly. Then, the writer hires a cover artist who will design a cover that is appropriate for your genre. You'll need to purchase one for each format you are releasing. Ebook, paperback, and audiobook covers all have different requirements, but most artists will offer a package price. Once your books are ready, both inside and outside, you, the writer, will need to send out advance copies to reviewers, either in your immediate social circle or, more preferably, bloggers and booktube reviewers in advance of the release. Then, you upload your book files to the distributor of choice and, once it releases, actively sell your book by promoting the book online and/or lining up venues to sell physical books. And, finally, the consumer reads your book. You probably noticed a difference in this publishing path versus the one in the last lesson. Specifically, there are a lot fewer people involved. At the end of the day, self-publishing means just that. You're doing all or most of this yourself. It's an uphill climb to be sure, especially if you don't have a pre-existing audience. So why do it? First, there are no gatekeepers, no literary agents or publishers standing in your way. You probably notice that every year or couple of years, there's a new trend where very specific books are getting snapped up by agents, with the rest getting left out in the cold. Self-publishing allows you to get your story to an international audience, even if you're not the flavor of the week. Second, there are higher profit margins in self-publishing. Depending on your publishing platform, you can bring home as much as 75% of every sale, whereas in a traditional house, you'll be lucky to bring home 5% after everyone else takes their cut, and that's after you earn out your advance. Third, you have more control. When you self-publish your own work, you own your work, and you have complete control over the publishing process and everything about your book. You will never suffer the irritation of being presented with the book cover for your book that your publisher chose for you and that you absolutely hate. Nor will you be told to make last-minute edits because your publisher has just kind of decided that your book is going to be marketed as young adult, even though you wrote this very distinctively for an adult audience. There are many steps to take and small details to consider when self-publishing your book, so I'm going to attempt to boil it down to a few easy-to-remember steps. After your book has been written and has been edited, you'll need your book cover, and that is extremely important. Your readers, you know. The cover is the first impression readers have of your book. While it's important to be unique, it's equally important to pay attention to what comparable covers in your genre look like. If you intend to publish a hard copy, be sure to format your text in accordance with the guidelines that your platform puts out. Typesetting, or book formatting as most of us call it, has rules, and these rules ensure a beautiful book and a pleasurable reading experience. For one, don't use tabs, don't add extra hard returns, don't use too small font, and the list goes on. Use a template if you can, or if not, book formatters are readily available online, and honestly for not that much money. Next, the back cover blurb. So short, yet so stressful to write. The book cover draws the reader's eye, but the blurb is what makes you the sale. So look at other book blurbs, especially among bestsellers, and model your blurb structure on it. So how do you write a good book description? For one, keep it simple and straightforward. Aim for about 150 to 200 words. Use paragraph breaks, bold and italic formats where needed, and even insert bullet points. Good use of white space is very important, not unlike good business writing. Something many first-time authors don't think about is the book metadata, which may sound complicated, but it's relatively straightforward. Regardless of which platform you choose, you'll be asked to enter a few pieces of data that describe your book, including your title, your subtitle, keywords, and categories. This tells your platform where to place your book to get it in front of the right buyers. So do your research in advance of uploading so you have it ready. You may also want to hire a copywriter who will create an SEO-optimized book blurb. If you're not familiar at all with search engine optimization, do not imagine you can muddle your way through it. Hire a pro. As far as your title goes, make it original, memorable, and searchable. Unlike other types of nonfiction, memoirs sometimes don't have lengthy SEO-optimized subtitles. Your title will only be one or a few words, much like a novel, so make it count. Think of Margot Jefferson's Negroland, Wendy Lawless's Chanel Bonfire, or Dreams from My Father by Barack Obama. You know what the book is going to be about just from the title. Not all titles are so descriptive, but don't just dash something off because it's catchy. Find the right one, even if it takes some time. Finally, you might choose to buy ISBNs, but they're not always required, especially if you plan to publish only in ebooks. Then you can usually skip purchasing ISBNs. I recommend going to all of the sites. Look what they offer and what your earning percentage will be, and then you can make the choice for what's best for you. Once you know where and how to sell your book, then comes the most important part: marketing. While this is one of the last steps in our self-publishing process, I highly suggest that you start thinking about your marketing strategy during the writing process. Pillars of marketing like an author website or social media sites are good first steps to take while you're still writing. You don't have to be active on all of them. Pick 2 or 3 that you enjoy, ensuring that you're choosing the sites where your readers are. For instance, if you're targeting 40-something moms, maybe TikTok isn't the place to be, even if you yourself are very young and should be there. Once the book is complete, then you should definitely send out at least a few advanced reader copies to generate buzz and reviews for your book. You can send ARCs to a bookseller to inquire about stocking copies for the release date, or to book reviewers to gain advanced reviews for your book that you will then put on your book cover prior to the final publication of the paperback. You may also be interested in author events, though keep in mind you will need hard copies for those. Book launch parties and author reading events are quite common. But in all sincerity, I don't recommend a book signing unless you have a large pre-existing following. Try to choose venues that are attractive in and of themselves. Most people will happily show up to a book reading if there's, say, delicious Thai food waiting for them. Marketing your book can be fun when you take the time and effort to understand your audience and provide them with a valuable reason to become a fan and ultimately purchase your book. Obviously, self-publishing is also the route to take if you want to publish the book just for your family and friends or for a small community like a church. Amazon allows you to create your ebooks and paperbacks and order copies to sell or distribute yourself, as does Lulu. The steps for private publishing are largely the same as self-publishing with a wide audience in mind, though obviously without the marketing. However, if your family members end up liking your book, there's always the possibility that you could seek out a wider readership for your book. So it's best to put the work in advance to make it great. This is the final lesson for the course. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I wish you all a happy journey of your own as you write your memoirs. So until we talk in real time, take care and write well.